This video is about file extension spoofing, and at first I will explain what that is. So if we take a look at this file, cmd.exe, I can double click that and it opens the Windows command prompt. And if I change the extension to JPG, so that's JPEG extension and that is used for image files, then you can see I'm not able to execute the command prompt anymore. And now we can use file extension spoofing to make it executable. We can fake the file extension. But at first, if you can't see the extensions of all the files, you just click on these three dots, options, view, and then change this to hide extensions for known file types. So normally it looks like this. Normally you can't see that. Okay, of course I could do something like this, but yeah, that's not very good. Therefore, it's better to use real file extension spoofing. Okay, so I've written the file extension spoofer in PowerShell. It's a very short script. It's very simple, and yeah, PowerShell is available on every modern Windows computer. I think it's even available on Windows XP at some service pack level, when I'm not wrong. Okay, but at first, yeah, let's go to the PowerShell console. We could also execute all the commands on the console, but yeah, I went out just use the script. By default, the execution policy is set to restricted. That means you can't execute PowerShell script. When I try to run this, that I will get this message, and that says that the execution for script is deactivated on my system, and therefore we should deactivate that. You can use this command, set execution policy minus execution policy, and use remote signed. Click, press A, press enter, and now we can see it's set to remote signed. If you want to learn more about the different parameters, then go to Google, enter MSDN set execution policy, and then take a look at this link. It just goes through the article. There you can find all the information. Okay, then I will open the script in Visual Code. And for Windows, or in Windows, for executable files, we can use different file extensions. For example, instead of .exe, I can use .scr. That is used for screensaver files. But I'm still able to execute the exe file, or I can change it to com. That's used for MS-DOS programs, and you can see I'm still able to execute this. Okay, ps script root, that's a path where the script is. So this path, and here's the script, and then I just append the slash and the word cmd.exe. Then I pass this variable to the copy item cmd.let, and the next variable that we need is this. It's a path variable, and then we just pass that to the destination parameter, and it will, so copy item, it will create a copy of cmd.exe, but it will save it under a new file name. When I execute the script now, here we can see how it looks like. This is how the path looks like now. And this is how it works. We have this Unicode character 202E, and that stands for right to left override. And yeah, that means basically it can be used to force a right to left direction override in text, and that is what is doing the file extension spoofing. Then we have again ps script root. So the path to our script slash my image, that's a file for, that's a name for the new file, or my image dot. And then we have this, our Unicode, and then we can see this JPJ. Now you need to read that from left to right, JPJ. So JPJ, that will be our file extension, and PIF, that will be our file type. So I will run this now, and then we'll create a new file. And here we can see it already, my image.jpj. And when I double click this, and you can see I can execute the command prompt, and PIF, that's a shortcut with MS-DOS programs. Now let's do the same for com. And here we can see the file. I can double click it, it runs. And what we can see here now is JPJ, that's a file extension now. But in reality, it's a com file. But here you can see MOC. That's because of the right to left override. So there's no way to remove that. Okay, what's the next step? Okay, yeah, here you can see the problem is now the icon. We have lost the icon, and that's not so good. But we can also do that with, well, can also use this file now. Okay, I will execute it, and then we can see that this will also, again, we find this in the file exe. Now it's called my image exe.jpj. Here it is, what it is. We can't get rid of that. If we use the PIF file extension, then we don't have the problem with the name, but we have the problem that we don't have an icon. But yeah, okay, so you can see now the file, and then I will go to Kali Linux, and then I will start a netcat session. And then I will run the file. And here we can see this goldfish. And now let's go back to Kali. Now we'll just type something here. This is the test, and we can see all my inputs in Kali Linux. So this is just a keylogger that I've written. I think it was around a year ago. And yeah, I think I can't show on YouTube everything how it works, or all the source codes and all that. But what it's doing, it is downloading a file from server. So it's downloading this called keylogger DLL, and the fish image, and this exe file it calls the keylogger file. So it calls the DLL file, and this is the actual keylogger. And when I've tested that, at least in Windows Defender, it wasn't flagged as suspicious or something. Yeah, how can you protect against file extension spoofing? The easiest way is probably just always to check this type column, because there you can see what kind of program you're dealing with. For example, here you can see my image exe.jpj, .jpj, but here you can see application. So it's a application file, and if we take a look at a real image like this one, then we can see the type is JPJ file. And yeah, that's everything. And in the next video, maybe I will show how to develop a dropper.